Interesting. All right, so we are live now, and it is 3:30. It's Tuesday, September 21st, and I'm at my office here in Southern California. It looks like it's streaming live, and the discussion for today is a statute of limitations for personal injury actions in California. So if you've been injured in an automobile collision or a slip and fall incident or somewhere else, and you believe someone else is to blame, you need to file a claim against that person or entity. Could be a corporation or a partnership or even a government entity. But for government entities, there's a separate statute of limitations, which I will go over later. So if it's not a government entity, it's just another person or private corporation, you have 2 years from the date of the incident to file a lawsuit in the appropriate superior court in the state of California. Generally, that's going to be the court where the accident took place. So every courthouse is a county courthouse, and the jurisdiction is within the county limits. So if you have an injury in the Los Angeles County, for example, you're going to have to file a lawsuit the Los Angeles County Superior Court within 2 years of the date of the incident. So take the incident date and go 2 years from that date. So if it's September 21st, which is today, 2021. So if it's September 21st, 2021, you're injured in an automobile collision. You want to file a lawsuit against the person who you believe caused the incident and your injuries. You have 2 years from September 21st, 2021, which is September 21st, 2023, and the court has to have accepted your filing by that date. Different courts have different rules, and you should not wait until the day 2 years from the incident to seek out an attorney to file a lawsuit, because it's going to take some time for the lawyer to get involved in the case, learn the facts, prepare a lawsuit, and file it. And you don't want to be doing that at the last moment. So consult with a lawyer as soon after an incident as possible, and don't wait 2 years to contact an attorney, because there's a lot that happens in that 2 years that's going to make or break your case. And that's why I always encourage people to consult with a lawyer as soon after the incident as possible, because there are also nuances and exceptions to the statute of limitations. So there are situations that will make the statute of limitations longer than 2 years. Let me repeat that. There are situations that will make the statute of limitations longer than 2 years, and there are situations that will make the statute of limitations shorter than 2 years. For example, if you're injured by a government entity or someone acting on behalf of a government entity, the statute of limitations can be less than 2 years, because you have to file a claim form within 6 months with the appropriate administrative body. And that means if you're injured by a city worker, you're going to file it with the city. Or if you're injured by the county, you're going to file it with the county. And if you're injured by the state of California, you're going to file it with the state of California. You're going to have to do some work on figuring out exactly which office is the appropriate office to file the government claim form. And that has to be done within 6 months. You have to file the government claim form and have it be received by the appropriate government entity within 6 months of the statute of the injury, not the statute. You have to file it within 6 months of the injury date. And you want to get an acceptance. So I would do it right away. If you're injured by a government entity, you have 6 months to file a government claim form with the appropriate government entity, outlining the different damages and how the incident occurred. So I guess I would say outlining how the incident occurred, what damages you've sustained. Maybe they're not all certain yet. You're going to need to put something down and file it with the appropriate government entity. And I strongly advise that you consult with an attorney to do this. If the government entity rejects your claim form, or rejects your claim, I wouldn't say they reject the claim form, because you have to get the claim filed and accepted, but that doesn't mean they're going to pay the claim. The government entity has 45 days to accept or reject payment on your claim. And, well, I wouldn't say they have 45 days to pay on the claim. They have 45 days to either say, hey, we're going to evaluate this claim and pay it, or they're going to say, hey, we're going to deny this claim and we're not going to pay. If you receive a rejection, then you have 6 months from the date the rejection is mailed or the date that you receive it, whichever comes first, I believe. So it could be personally delivered and you receive it on that day, or the government worker mails it on that day. You have 6 months from that day to file a lawsuit in the Superior Court against the government entity for your injuries. So the statute of limitations for a government entity could be as little as 1 year and 45 days, because that would be the 6th month from the 45th day if it was rejected on the 45th day. But that's generally not what happens. Either the government is going to accept liability for the claim or they're going to reject it, and it will be clear as to which avenue you need to take. If they accept liability for the claim or they never respond, then you have the normal 2 years against the government entity as you would have against a corporation or a private person. So if you're in California and you're injured in an automobile collision, you have 2 years from the date of the incident to file a lawsuit in civil court, but you shouldn't wait that long to consult with a lawyer, because a lawyer is going to help you in so many other areas than just preparing a lawsuit. Maybe if you have a lawyer early, you can completely avoid a lawsuit, which means the lawyer is going to receive your case, listen to the facts, do an investigation, figure out who's liable and why, and determine how much insurance they have and if it's attainable. And then some time's going to have to go by, and you're going to have to find out how injured you are with the knowledge of how the incident occurred and how to prove the case and how much insurance is available. Armed with those facts and understanding the extent of your injuries, you can then understand how much you're going to demand from the insurance company. Maybe it's the entire policy, maybe it's something less than the entire policy. But a lawyer can help you put all of that together and help you understand what you should demand. And that's why you should consult with a lawyer as soon after an incident as possible. If you can't get medical treatment, that's a major issue, because if you don't have medical treatment, you can't prove that you were injured in the incident. So getting treatment as soon after the incident as possible and not waiting 2 years just because you have 2 years to file a lawsuit is of the utmost importance. If you have questions about a personal injury or collecting against an insurance company, you should call my office and inquire about a free consultation. And that's what you should do. So I guess we can go over it again. Maybe just checking here if there's anybody on. Nope, nobody's watching. Why would anybody watch my live stream anyway? It's boring. One day you all will watch, and you'll understand that I'm just here to help you with whatever questions that you have. You come into the stream, ask different questions, and I would answer them. But today's stream is on statute of limitations, which is the time period that one has to file a lawsuit in the appropriate superior court against the person who they believe caused their injuries. And the appropriate superior court is going to be the court in the county where the injury arose. So if you're injured in Los Angeles County, you're going to file in the Los Angeles County Superior Court. If you're a plaintiff injured in Orange County and the incident took place in Orange, you're going to file a lawsuit in the Orange County Superior Court. And that's how you determine which superior court you're going to be filing in. Where did the incident occur? For personal injury, that is generally how you get into that venue. And that's all. You have to file a lawsuit within 2 years of the date of the incident if you want to successfully maintain that lawsuit. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. There are minors. Minors have until their 18th birthday plus 2 years to file a lawsuit in civil court for their personal injuries. Let me repeat that. Minors under the age of 18 have until their 18th birthday plus 2 years to sue the person who injures them negligently. So the allegation is there. Maybe the minor child is 5, And 13 years elapsed to that minor's birthday, or nearly 13 years. And then 2 years after that is the day that they have to file their lawsuit, the last day that they have to file their lawsuit. So for a minor, there's many years to bring a legal claim. But generally, because time washes away evidence and heals certain types of injuries, suffering can't be established so many years later, and maybe it's impossible to make the causation link between problems that the person's having when they're 20 versus the injuries that they had when they were 5. So it's always important that parents seek representation for their child as soon after an incident as possible to make sure that the legal claim is being established appropriately and in a timely manner that's going to make sure that the insurance company takes that injury claim seriously and pays something. Now, a lawyer can also help set up an annuity and make sure that any money received by a minor is developing interest, or at least has some accumulation of value over time. So just sitting in a regular bank account, the money's just going to sit there for, 13 years in the case of a minor who settles when they're 5 years old, and it's not going to accumulate any interest. It's just going to lose value to inflation. So having an annuity purchase that's going to pay out money in the future in a greater amount can offset the loss to inflation and also maybe earn the minor some money over time. So the courts generally like to see an A-plus annuity purchased if it's going to be a long period of time where the minor isn't going to have that money. The minor can't have the money until they're 18, so there's going to be a long period of time for a 5-year-old. That's about 13 years of inflation that's going to eat away at their money if it's just in a blocked bank account earning interest on a savings account, which is less than 1%. That's when you go to an annuity purchase with an A-plus rated company. And all of that is done under the supervision of a commissioner or judge at the Superior Court in a minor's compromise hearing within the probate department. So if you have a child who's been injured in an automobile collision or somewhere else and believe that there's an insurance available to pay for their injuries and that it should because someone's negligence is to blame, you need to consult with a personal injury lawyer about pursuing that claim for your child and ultimately getting a settlement for those injuries and pain and suffering, and having that settlement money either be placed in a blocked account if it's going to be a short period of time, maybe your child's 16 or 17 years old, and it's a small amount of money because it's not a large injury, then the money may go into a blocked account, just a savings account, and it won't earn much interest, but it will be liquid and it will be pulled out. Or if it's going to be a longer period of time, you might have the option to purchase an annuity from an annuity company, depending upon how long it's going to be and how much money it is. And that's going to preserve the value of that settlement money for your child and protect it from inflation, and maybe even grow it a little bit. So nobody is on here, so let me explain that one more time. If your child is injured in an automobile collision, or they've had an injury somewhere else and you believe that there's negligence and a legal claim, you need to consult with a lawyer about your child's injury as soon as possible. And that's because your child has rights and they need to be pursued, and a lawyer can help you do that. If your child waits too long to be evaluated by a doctor, if you wait too long to have your child evaluated by a doctor, and you don't seek legal recourse against the at-fault party, eventually their claim is going to wear away and be harder to prove. So even though your child has until their 18th birthday plus 2 years to file a lawsuit against the party that causes the incident that injures them, it's important that that claim be pursued in a timely manner so that evidence is preserved, and not just evidence of the scene and how it happened, but also evidence of their suffering and the medical bills that they incur should be paid for by the other party's insurance company. Wow. So that's it. time limit to file legal claim for bodily injury in California. You have 2 years from the date of the incident to file a lawsuit in the appropriate superior court against the person who you believe caused your injuries. For government entities, it's a shorter time frame. You must file a government claim form with the appropriate government entity within 6 months of the date of the incident. The government entity has 45 days to reject or accept that. If you don't hear from them, then you have the normal 2 years from the date of the incident to sue the government entity that you believe caused your injuries. But if the government entity rejects your claim, then you have only 6 months from the date the rejection is mailed or delivered by hand to you to file a lawsuit in the appropriate superior court in the county in which the incident took place that caused your injuries. For children, the statute of limitations is longer. For private entities, for children who are injured by a private entity, such as a private person or corporation, it's 2 years from the date of the incident to file a lawsuit in the appropriate superior court. So if you have a child who's injured, it's 2 years from their 18th birthday. So a child who's injured has more time to file a lawsuit against the person who they believe caused their injuries than an adult. But a lot of times these types of claims, like automobile accident injury claims, it's a minor being injured in tandem with an adult, and the adult seeking representation, and usually the minor is having their claim investigated as well, and the claims settle well before the statute of limitations of the minor running. Let me say that again. Oftentimes, see, it's spiking like that. Pull it back a little bit. See if that helps. Oftentimes, let's see if it touches it. Oftentimes, it's 2 years from the date of the incident, but there are exceptions to that rule. If you're suing a property owner who leaves the country, the statute of limitations is actually told for the period of time that the property owner is outside of the country and cannot be served with process. That does not extend to automobile collisions in California. I believe that there was an attempt to make that extension, and either by case law or by just straight statute, that does not exist here in California. So you have 2 years from the date of the incident to file a lawsuit in the appropriate civil court. And I'm going to take a little break here for a minute, come right back. All right, I'm back. I think we're going to have to figure out how not to spike that, because that's an issue on the live streams for the future. Because touching the desk and then having the microphone, it's an issue moving my hands around. So, yes, let's resume. There are nuances to the rule. Let's go over it. Let's just look at it right now. just take a look at this thing. Okay. So this is on courts.california.gov. This is where you go to find the statute of limitations periods for California for different types of claims. And I put this in the description below so that you can go to this link if you're interested. But it says here the statute of limitations is the deadline for filing a lawsuit. Most lawsuits must be filed within a certain amount of time. In general, once the statute of limitations on a case runs out, the legal claim is not valid any longer. The period of time during which you can file a lawsuit varies depending on the type of legal claim. Here are the statute of limitations for some common types of legal disputes. Personal injury. It's ours. So how is this working out? Okay. No concurrent viewers. I was hoping that I'd have a concurrent viewer. This thing's pretty bad. I better take it down.